never goodbye. Gonna sit at the welcome table.
Uptown, downtown, wherever you are, keep it locked in to WBOK.
WBOK New Orleans, home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
Join New Schools for New Orleans, All-State Sugar Bowl, and Integer New Orleans in recognizing and celebrating the Teachers of the Year at our 4th annual New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Awards Gala. The gala will take place Saturday, November 1st at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. This year's gala will feature New Orleans legend DJ Jubilee. Don't miss out on this intimate celebration supporting our New Orleans public school teachers. Tickets can be purchased on our website, newschoolsforneworleans.org.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. ICE is spending billions to recruit agents in cities like LA, Dallas, and Chicago.
Attention Chicago law enforcement. You took an oath to protect and serve, to keep your family, your city safe. But in sanctuary cities, you're ordered to stand down.
Over the summer, they received 150,000 applications and issued 20,000 job offers. President Trump recently clashed with black reporter Ebony McMorris, a correspondent for American Urban Radio Networks, calling her really obnoxious during a tense White House exchange. McMorris pushed back, saying she was just doing her job. Journalists and advocates are rallying behind her. And singer and actress Brandy is releasing a memoir titled Phases on March 31st. She calls it a journey of hope, resilience, and healing that she hopes inspires her fans. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Welcome to the Good Morning Show. This is WBOK 1230 AM. I'm Will Sutton, and with me is Chief Eddie Campos. Why are you here?
I'm here to hear you.
We want to hear from you. You're hearing our voices. We would love to hear yours. The WBOK 1230 AM talk line is 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. And so you can call with your comment, your question, your concern, your query. Maybe it's a question that we can answer, and we'll do our best to answer your question. But maybe it's an answer we can't answer. In that case, we'll give you a response. So I pray that you had a good day yesterday. We started the week strong. We're back in for another day. And there's, quite a number of developments. And, of course, I want to remind you what's happening October 11th is Election Day. Election Day is October 11th. And so that is a big day in New Orleans. And it's a big day across the state in some different parishes with different types of elections going on. But here in New Orleans, we'll be electing a mayor, a couple of city council at large positions and city council district members for A, C, D, and E. Leslie Harris is the incumbent in B with no challengers. And we're looking to see who will replace Joe Geruso in City Council District A. We're seeing if Freddie King, the incumbent, can hold on to his seat in C. And we're looking to see if incumbent Eugene Green can hold on to his seat in D. And then, of course, there's the open seat in District E. But in addition to that, there are other positions, including Kirk, to see if the incumbent Darren Lombard can hold on to his position. And we have an assessor race, and to see if the incumbent Errol Williams can hold on to his seat. And, of course, we have the sheriff election. Incumbent Sheriff Susan Hudson would like your support and wants to hold on to her seat, but she's got some strong challengers, and those challengers are on the campaign trail and on the airwaves and out with billboards and signs and all to get your attention and moving about to earn your support. So meanwhile, I hope you'll pay attention to that date, October 11th, but pay attention to this date too, September 27th. That's just a few days from now. You do not need to wait until Election Day to cast your ballot. You can cast your ballot starting on Saturday, September 27th, and continuing until October 4th. And for those who are eligible, and we've been over this a couple of times, we'll do it again at some point. Those of you who are eligible for mail ballots, and that's not just the seniors, 65 and older, you can request a mail ballot and cast your ballot at home in the privacy of your home and return it by mail to the clerk so that your vote can be recorded. It must be received no later than October 10th, but you can seek that ballot now. You don't have to wait until early voting starts. So make sure that you are lined up and in gear, and make sure that when you are moving forward and educating yourself about the candidates and the issues, that you are bringing along a second person, a third person, a fourth person, a fifth person, so that they're engaged as well. One of my nephews just told me the other day that because he's been in and out of town, he wants to have a chat about what's going on. I love that. I love that. He's like, well, I know who these people are. I want to know more about the issues. Do that. Let's have those family conversations. Let's have those friend conversations. And, you do it your way. I mean, if you want to say, well, here's who I'm supporting, this is who you should vote for, then you do that. But I would ask that you consider telling them the why, okay? I mean, I'm likely to tell my nephew, here's who's running. Here's what they have done. Here's what they have stood for with positives. And then seek to share with him some cons on the choices and see where he wants to go as he develops his query about who he's going to cast his ballots for. So that's something that all of us can do. Make sure the persons are registered to vote. If they're not registered, they're not going to vote in this election, the October 11th election, but they can vote in the November election, and you can register in person or online now. Important to vote, Chief.
Oh yes, like I always say, voting is the means and mechanism that we have in place to make real change. We always talk about this every morning, and I know people sometimes say, "Why y'all talk about this so much?" Because it is probably one of the most important aspects and most important responsibilities that we have in a democracy. And when you look at the choices that you have to make, these choices are going to be extremely important in your future, because these people will be in office for a minimum of 4 years. And all in likely, if they get elected to certain positions, like I don't think a mayor has ever been defeated that was an incumbent.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about picking a mayor, you're talking about
Not in recent history.
Not in recent history.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about somebody for 8 years. So you got to look at the ramifications of decisions that you make. And when you pick someone, you better be sure that's the person you want. And you have a responsibility as an individual within this city, within this democracy, to pick the right person. And the only way you'll find out which one lines up with your ideology is to looking at the debates, reading the paraphernalia that they put out, look at their past history, look at what they have done in the community, and then make an informed decision. And then once you vote, then you live with the consequences. But if you don't vote, an inaction is an action. Like I always tell people, silence is tacit consent.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, if you don't vote, you're being silent. So don't complain about the results.
Yep, absolutely, positively. And there was a debate, televised debate last night on WDSU. If you didn't catch it, it is online. And so that was a debate including State Senator Royce Duplessis, City Council Vice President Helena Moreno, and City Council member Oliver Thomas. Unfortunately for me, I was looking forward to a full hour, but it ended up being 1/2 hour. So they got in as much as they could in that time. But each of them were asked some of the same questions. They were asked rapid fire questions, and they were asked individual questions as well. So if you missed that debate, that would be one of a number of debates that you can look at because they were recorded. They are online, and they are pretty good indicators of where folks might be for running for mayor or council. There are different things that come up, and some of these things come up over and over again. But it's important to hear the candidates at least once. I was watching the debate with somebody last night, and this was her first time seeing the candidates debate. So my perspective was different because I've seen a number of them. But this was her first time, for a variety of reasons, including travel, seeing the candidates debate. So this was like really important for her to see. You don't know who has seen you 5, 6, 7, 12, 20 times, and then who has seen you for the first time on a given day.
Well, a perfect example is sometimes the stances of the candidates change throughout the not the debate, but throughout, their term. Like in the beginning, when Chief Kirkpatrick was up for being considered for superintendent of police, Councilman Oliver Thomas did not support her initially. And they asked him about that during the debate. Well, he said she has won his confidence. So therefore, if individual had not looked at the debate, they may have been under the impression that Councilman Thomas was not in favor of keeping Chief Kirkpatrick. So that's just one small example of how, makes the attitudes change, stances change, because it's fluid. So when you're looking at the debate, you're constantly gaining information. Like you said, the young lady you were watching the debate with, that was her first debate. Had she not seen the debate, she may have been under the impression that Councilman Thomas would not keep Chief Kirkpatrick had he become mayor, if he becomes mayor. So that's you're always getting good information. So that's one reason you want to stand for.
We got a caller. Pop Jones, good morning. How are you, sir?
Hey, good morning, Will and Chief.
Good morning, sir.
How y'all doing?
We're doing pretty good.
Fabulous.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. I looked at the debate myself last night.
Oh, good. All right. Thing.
And certainly I was it just made me want to ask more questions. Like you say, I wish it would have been an hour instead of half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But I did get some things that kind of make me wonder, and but I was glad that I was able to watch the debate, and I hope. But I was thinking about how many other candidates that they have other than the major three candidates.
Yeah, those are the only ones who participated last night. There are more than 12 candidates, but these are the ones that participated based on polling.
Okay, so are we going to get a chance to hear from the other candidates at some point?
Well, if you'd like to hear from the other candidates, I'll point out one in particular, the Saving Our Souls mayoral debate forum was at the Treme Community Center, and it included all of the mayoral candidates were invited. Nearly all of them showed up, and that was recorded, and it is on their Facebook page. So if you'd like to hear from the likes of Eileen Carter, Frank Janusa, if you want to hear from Ricky Twiggs and, some of the other folks who are officially qualified to run for mayor, I would suggest the Save Our Souls Facebook page as one option. A second option is the Times-Picayune, NOLA.com recorded a 1-hour debate just recently. And that is, you can find that online at NOLA.com. That didn't include all of the candidates, but it did include 4 candidates, including the only Republican candidate, Frank Janusa. So that was not the original plan. As I understand it, it was going to be the most prominent 3, but he was included because a new poll had come out at that time, and it showed him somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 7% polling. So that put him on the mark to be on the stage. So there were 4. So you can hear from Frank Janusa during that one if you'd like. There have been other opportunities for all of the mayoral candidates who were invited. I went to a youth candidates forum on Saturday, but and I wasn't there for the whole time. But the portion that I saw when candidates were speaking, there were 3 mayoral candidates and 1 city council candidate, and none of them were the most prominent 3. So this was a youth candidates forum. So this was primarily an audience of teens to early 20s people, and of course some parents and guardians. I don't know if that one was recorded, but there are at least those 2 opportunities if you want to hear from some other people.
Well, do they have a narrator on each different one? Like WDSU was in charge of the one last night.
Yeah, Save Our Souls.
So each one of them had a different narrator or
that's correct. So in the Treme Community Center, Rec Center, there was a moderator for that one. I'm drawing a blank on who it was. And for the Times-Picayune, NOLA.com, it was my colleague, columnist Stephanie Grace. She was at the podium, and they were on the stage, and she asked the questions for that one. And again, there have been other debates and forums where other candidates have been included. That also was the case of the Urban League of Louisiana, the By the People debates that they held, a whole series of 8. So if you really want to see a bunch of candidates, watch each of the 8 Urban League of Louisiana hosted debates, because the mayoral debate included, I think, 9 candidates. So it was a long night, but you heard from some of everybody, and that too is recorded. You can go to the Urban League of Louisiana website and find that one. Does that help, Pop?
Well, it helped somewhat, but I tell you what, the one last night was, I think it would have been more beneficial to the community for to have like a station like WDSU where everybody, because like everybody can't get out all to these different places to see these debates or hear these debates. So I think that was a beautiful thing last night, just to have those. And I tell you, it really kind of showed me something even just in that half an hour.
Right. Yeah. And there have been other televised debates, including WWL and WYES. Those also.
They have, okay, I was out of town.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're recorded if you want to check in.
Okay, they had WWL and what's the other station?
WWL, WDSU, WYES, and Fox 8.
And they had the major candidates, or who they have?
Well, there were different guidelines for each, but with the televised debates, those were smaller groups of candidates. But the Urban League had, I think, what you're looking for, which is you want to hear from those most prominent candidates, but from some of the other candidates as well. So the Urban League by the People debate included Renata Collins, the sister who is running for mayor, for instance. Okay?
Oh, okay.
All right. Hey, Pop.
Hey,
Pop. Hold on a second, and Aaron can put you in touch with me. I can help you out after the show.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. We're going to have to go to break now. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Good morning and happy Tuesday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. A jury is seated for the trial of former 911 director Tyrell Morris. However, the trial won't resume until tomorrow in observance of the Jewish holiday Rosh Hashanah, which is today. Yesterday, prosecutors allege Morris left a New Orleans bar on his birthday in 2023, crashed a city-issued SUV, and later altered a drug and alcohol policy to avoid consequences. But his defense attorney instead blamed politics and the media for this case going forward at all. And a heads up for drivers who use the Claiborne Avenue Bridge, lane closures will impact both directions today. The St. Bernard Parish Sheriff's Office says the right lanes on both the east and westbound side will be closed from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Officials say this is for routine bridge inspections. And finally, you can watch our WDSU mayoral debate in its entirety right now on WDSU.com. You'll hear from the three top candidates, Royce Duplessis, Helena Moreno, and Oliver Thomas. And a reminder, Election Day is Saturday, October 11th, and early voting begins this Saturday and runs through October 4th. And the RTA is offering free bus, streetcar, and ferry rides on both Saturdays of early voting as well as Election Day. No voter registration is required for that. And that's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a great day.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Damon John founded FUBU back in 1992 and used that as a springboard into a highly successful career as an entrepreneur. But today's retail climate is a lot different. Speaking to Bloomberg at the Uncharted Annual Summit, John talked about one big innovation in retail, live selling.
There's an app called Whatnot, right? And people have 20-second auctions for one little device, or let's say a makeup, sells for about $12. Mm-hmm. Now, they can do this 3 separate times in 1 minute, right? So they make a profit about $4 every time they sell it. So now all of a sudden, $12 a minute. You times that, because now they have friends coming on everything. You times that by 16 hours a day.
John is confident that people could continue to make new companies like FUBU today, but he thinks innovations like live selling might replace more traditional retail models for future entrepreneurs. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
It's Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. Get up to 35% off select major appliances and save an additional $1,000 when you buy 4 select LG major appliances. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5 amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt 20-volt max tool. Get the job done for less at Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid through 9/26. Selection varies by location while supplies last. See associate or Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
New Orleans, are you ready for a voice that says what you're thinking? Who that, you might ask? Arrington Gavin. That's right, I'm your guy, host of the Arrington Gavin Show, giving you so much filled with bold opinions, real conversations, and zero sugarcoating. We're going to be diving into the issues that matter, politics, pop culture, and all the above, unfiltered and unafraid. Catch the Arrington Gavin Show weeknights from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., Monday through Fridays, right here on WBOK, what New Orleans is talking about.
A message from the community scientist. Do you live or work in St. James, St. John, St. Charles, Ascension, Calcasieu, Baton Rouge, or St. Bernard Parish? You may be exposed to harmful chemicals like phthalates, BPA, and flame retardants found in everyday products but linked to serious health risks. That's why the Community Scientist, a program of Rise St. James, brings you clear, science-based facts that protect your health and our environment. Stay informed, stay empowered. Visit risestjames.org today.
New Orleans is stuck, spinning our wheels while JP Morrell gets us nowhere. I'm Pastor Gregory Manning, and I'm running for New Orleans City Council at large. I'll fight for our community. Affordable housing, lower bills, and no more Entergy late fees or cutoffs when people need power most. Because when our community moves forward, New Orleans moves forward. On October the 11th, it's time to move forward. Vote Pastor Gregory Manning for City Council at Large, Division 2, ballot number 32. Paid for by Friends of Gregory Manning.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. This is WBOK, 1230 a.m. I am Will Sutton, and with me here is
Chief Eddie Campos.
And why are you here?
I'm here to hear you.
All right, we want to hear you. We heard from Pop Jones, and I know we got Reverend Wallace on the line. So you want to get your spot before all the lines are taken. 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. You got something on your chest? You got something that you want to share? You got a question, comment? Give us a ring, 504-582-9422. Let's see what Reverend Wallace has for us. Good morning, Reverend Wallace.
Good morning. First of all, I want to apologize to the listening audience for my passion and using some selective words was not appropriate. So I ask for your party for that. Forgiveness for that. But I want to say to this community, Mr. Campus, and to you, my brother, I thank you for being engaged in this conversation. It's very important to let us know that our vote is very sacred. It counts. It changed. Dr. King said, voteless people or powerless people.
Yes, sir.
We're not swayed by, as Dr. King said, I ain't going to let nothing turn me around. Of all the opposition that Dr. Kingdom had and the very limited resources they had, they were able to do something that was tremendously important for us. They integrated. They fought against the paradigms of the power of the bus structure that would not give us the right to privilege to sit in front of the bus, but they was not deterred by statistics or odds against them. And that's the thing about voting. When you vote, you makes the difference. I don't care what someone says from their point of view of statistics and polling. If you go vote, you can make the difference. It was proven in the race for the sheriff with the millage. About 4 people made the difference. Out of all the opposition she had, that crossed the line as a win. And I have been challenged and everything, but it was successful. And that's all I'm saying now. Don't let people tell you because of certain people endorsing certain people that the race is over. You can make the difference. You are 54% of the vote in the city. You hold a commanding lead. You can make the difference if you get out and vote. Please go out and vote. That's all I'm asking.
Wonderful. Absolutely. We absolutely 100% agree with you. I'll just make one adjustment, and if you, I hope that you'll accept it. Yes, we want people to go out and vote, but if they can't get out and vote, you can vote in the privacy of your home with a mail ballot. So most of us go out and vote, those of us who vote on a regular basis. Early voting starts on September 27th, and it will continue through October 4th, and then Election Day is October 11th. So absolutely, Reverend Wallace, we want people to go out and vote if they can, and if they're going to be out of town or otherwise unavailable and eligible, we want them to definitely vote by mail, request the ballot, and return the ballot on time. We talked a little bit about registration yesterday. I'm going to give you a couple other numbers here so that you'll be aware. And these numbers are courtesy of Lisa Manning Bridges, our registrar of voters. So looking at the past 30 days, this is as of yesterday, the past 30 days. So that includes September until the deadline for the registration online, September 20th, and then a bit of August. So in that time period, there were 1,030 people registered to vote. 1,030 people registered to vote. The demographic breakdown is 540 females, 444 males, 46 who identified as other. And there were 422 people who identified as white, 450 people who identified as black, 116 people who identified as other, 25 who identified as Hispanic, 11 who identified as Asian, and 6 as American Indian. So I'd like to know what you all think about that. Chief, you have any thoughts? Well, 1,030 people. I wish there had been more, but we got 1,030 more registered voters.
Well, that's a large number. It should be larger. You know, I want to go back to what Reverend Wallace said about the polls. You know, when you look at polls, you know, polls are important in some respects, in some aspects, as it relates to strategy, and it relates to who gets to get on the debates. You know, when it's a small group that's called have over 5%. But I'm a believer. History repeats itself a lot of times, and when you look at polls and you look at different numbers, I look at the last 2 mayoral elections. I remember when Ray Nagin ran, he was polling at 7% when he first started. And the reason I know that is because his brother-in-law, Cedric, was one of the campaign managers, and he told me that. He told me that because he saw me, he said, man, because he was out, I saw him on General de Gaulle and Holiday with him and Ray Nagin passing out flyers. He said, we polling 7%. He said, but I don't worry about polls. And then Mayor Cantrell, she wasn't polling high.
Yeah, she was trailing.
She was trailing. And, you know, different things happened throughout the campaigning. And so even though someone may have a commanding lead in these polls, that's not a guarantee that they will be the next mayor, because that's why voting is important. You know, no matter who you vote for, no matter who you support, your vote is your vote. And even though you want to be well informed, you know, when you use that vote, you have to use it from a position of saying, is this the best person that's going to help my quality of life? Is this the best person who in the past, by their past actions, have helped my community? And that's a question you have to ask yourself, you know, and, you know, we're here to inform you. We're here to give you information. And like Reverend Wallace says, you know, we make voting a priority because that's the only mechanism that we have in this democracy that we live in to make change. And we're about to make a change that's going to affect us, we say 4 years, but for the next 8 years. I mean, because like I said, I'm a student of history, and I can't remember in recent years where a mayor didn't get a second term. So when you vote for this person, you better believe they're going to be with you for 8 years. So is your life going to be better? You have to make that determination. So when you vote, be a conscious voter, be an educated voter, and be intentional. That's all I have to say.
All right. Indeed, indeed, indeed. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. I'm glad Bob Jones asked the question that he did about hearing from some of the other candidates. And you can hear from some of those other candidates on recorded programs, debates, and forums online. Save Our Souls is online, and that is on their Facebook page. And there are others, including the Urban League of Louisiana, By the People series. That's 8 full debates recorded on their website. And that is something that you can go to very easily. And if you want to see more of the mayoral candidates, you certainly can see them there. There are other opportunities as well. We've got a caller. Good morning, Ms. Jones. How are you?
Oh, I'm pretty good. Good morning to you and to the listening audience. Just want to say that regular voters, contact everybody that you know and encourage them to register to vote or to go on and vote. All they have to do is think about this last governor's race. Didn't go out. Now you're crying because he's stripping this and stripping that. Whenever you have get-togethers, talk about registering and register and vote. Take somebody with you to the polls, whether you're early voting or on the day of election. And check in to see whether you're eligible to help somebody with some special need, whether it's visually impaired, physically can't walk, or what have you. They have a right to do that. If you're out of town, tell them to vote before going. This is really critical. We don't need anything like our governor, or Louisiana's governor, because I'm going to call it mine.
I hear you. I hear you.
It's just so critical, I mean, to get out there and vote and register, even if you are 17, like one of the young ladies who told me she was 17, and I think she would be 18 by then. But as long as you have get-togethers, crowds of people, talk about it, and just don't talk about it, but go and vote. And people who are older, stop all of this. Well, they're not doing nothing. I don't go and vote. You're a bad influence. You're not going to hell or heaven because you vote or you're involved a little bit with politics. You're going to have leaders, and you're going to vote them in. That's an old process. It's nothing new.
Absolutely. Ms. Jones, I'm glad you brought that up. Let me give you another piece of context, give you and our listeners a piece of context for the point that you're making right now. This is another bit of information that I got from our registrar, Leslie, got from our registrar, and that is the number of youths. So there are 262,555 registered voters in Orleans Parish. That doesn't mean they all vote,
right?
But that's the number, 262,555. What's your guess of how many of those are 18, 19, or 20? Just take a guess.
I really can't guess.
That's all right. Chief, you got a guess?
I would say 5%.
5%.
I was about to say maybe somewhere between 7 and 10, up to 10 maybe.
Okay. All right. Well, the number is 6,300.
So
6,300.
6,300.
Say it again.
6,300. 6,300.
Yep.
So that's about what, 2%?
Yeah.
2 or
So
3%.
so I mean that's a good chunk of new voters that are eligible to vote, and so some of them are in our households or in our families, in our churches. But it's great that they're registered. But will they vote?
Now, that's the thing. I'll tell them you want to go to the second line. You've given all your pearls to the swines, recipes, and the culture, and they're going to complain. Got to get back to doing, at least learning some history. Yep. They're not going to teach what civics in the schools, with the system of schools that they have now. Form some clubs. Talk about civics. Because even if the Caucasian really realized what was happening, they wouldn't be supporting the ways of who's sitting in Washington, D.C. right now.
All right. Well, thank you so much for calling and being engaged with this. Thank you for the work that you do. Each of us has a responsibility.
Because it was really difficult to register at our time. You had to be 21 years old, and you had to know a whole bunch of things, like exactly how old you were on that date that you're registering. And Mr. Galman would often say that they wanted to count how many bubble gums they have in a machine. How many you have? 500. Then you could register. They made it very difficult. The year it became easy was the year that I was eligible to vote.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Jones, as always, providing some good context, some good information, and a little history there, too. Appreciate your call. Have a blessed day.
I appreciate WBOK. And please, elder listeners, please talk to them. Don't give them any money if they don't register. They're begging with their hands.
I like that.
Put the registration paper in their hands.
I like that. All right. Have a blessed day. All right. You're listening to WBOK 1230 a.m., the Good Morning Show. I'm Will Sutton, and with me is Chief Eddie Compass. It's 7:44 a.m. You got somewhere to be at 8 o'clock. You might make it if you're up and ready, got your coffee or favorite beverage ready to go with your bag and all the things you need to walk out the door. But don't forget your keys. And, of course, be safe.
No speeding.
No speeding.
That's the chief.
No speeding. All right. WBOK 1230 a.m. Talk line is 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. When we come back, we're going to talk some more about some of the news and information that you need to know, want to know, should know. And probably we'll touch on some Charlie Kirk as well. All right. So we are listening to WBOK, 1230 a.m., what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Another hot day is expected. Highs will be into the low 90s, feeling like the mid to upper 90s at times. There are chances for rain today, but most of these will be isolated. Not everybody will see it, but if you do see some rain, there could be some heavy downpours, but more rain expected for Wednesday and Thursday, and we need it. Temperatures at the end of the week will be into the 80s. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Every Friday at noon on WBOK.
What's the future for New Orleans? Will city services ever function efficiently? Our people need answers, not slogans. That's why the Nonpartisan City Services Coalition has asked the candidates for mayor how they plan to fix city government. Want to know what they said? Go to cityservicescoalition.com to see for yourself. It's time for action, not excuses. The next step is yours.
Paid for by the City Services Coalition.
Hear that? For too long, fixing our streets and drainage has only meant inconvenience and empty promises. This is Matthew Willard. I'm running for Council at Large, Division 1, to really fix our city, so we spend less time dodging potholes and street flooding and more time cheering on the Saints. As a state legislator, I've proven I can deliver. At City Hall, I'll build on that record. Paid for by the Matthew Willard campaign.
My name is Calvin Duncan, and I served 28 years in prison for a crime I didn't commit. But instead of losing hope at Angola, I educated myself, became a jailhouse lawyer, and after decades of being denied access to my records by the clerk's office, proved my innocence. Today, that same office is treating our records like trash, and it's time for a clerk who knows how much is at stake.
Calvin Duncan for clerk.
Paid for by Calvin for clerk.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana communities through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation, please visit us at www.jazzandheritage.org.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK. Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. This is WBOK 1230 AM. It is 7:50,
and you got 10 minutes to get where you need to be if you got to be there at 8 o'clock. And if you just need to go to another room to start your work, then you can be a little bit more casual. You know, maybe you send that text or email from your bed to let them know you're awake, you know. So, all right. So welcome back to the Good Morning Show. If you are just joining us, you've missed some lively conversation with some of our callers and listeners about the mayoral election in particular and elections generally. And we're going to be talking some more about that, not just today, but in coming days, because it's a hot thing. It's very important, very important. And so we'll be spending some time with that and not ignoring some other issues that you'll be aware of and then some that you won't be aware of. But right now we want to go to the WDSU debate last night, moderated by my friend Gina Swanson, anchor at WDSU. And that debate had a number of policy questions and choice questions. What would you do? And one of those questions was about the impending fiscal crisis that we're facing. We've been hearing some different numbers from different people that we're going to have a deficit of 65 million, that we're going to have a deficit of 100 million, that we're going to have a deficit of 110 million, that it could be as high as 140 million. And the Louisiana State Legislature auditor has been called in to look at the books and figure out what is the real number. So, Chief Eddie, we're going to hear from the candidates in just a moment. What's your thinking about that?
Well, you know, I always say I'm a student of history. If you don't learn from the past, you're doomed to repeat it. Remember when Sidney Bartholomew was our guest, he took over with a $30 million deficit.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that he put in place was a 4-day work week, which was basically a 20% reduction in pay for the entire city employment. That was not a popular measure.
No.
That did not go well with the employees. And these candidates are going to face that same type of challenge. If you look at the dollars back then in the 1980s at 30 million, it's kind of analogous to where we're going to be at now. So I'm very curious to see what their how they're going to rectify this situation.
Yep. Well, let's hear what the candidates said about the fiscal crisis in last night's WDSU TV mayoral debate.
Senator, Councilmember Thomas, the issue of the city deficit between overtime spending and an overestimation of revenue. We're facing a $100 million deficit. A longtime issue that has come up is putting more properties on the tax roll. The BGR says 65% of assessed value of all real estate in New Orleans and Orleans Parish exempt from property tax. Is that a consideration for you when it comes to solving this deficit?
I mean, at some point we have to look at, especially when you're looking at potential deficit and funding chartered city services, we have to look at all avenues, and let's meet with the BGR to take a look at those possibilities. But let's not panic, right? Right now, what they're projecting is somewhere between a $65 million deficit, and some folk say it may be a little more. But let's not start sounding the alarm, even though it's extremely important. A lot of that is tied up in the personnel positions from people who were working when you talk about the Americans Affordable Care Act. So a lot of those positions can be eliminated. And the rest of it is caught up in $70 million in the general fund and $30 million in projections. We aren't finished receiving Super Bowl receipts right now. And what do you know when you understand the history of the budget? A lot of that is made up in the fourth quarter and the first quarter of the next year. So while we're going to take a real serious look at the budget, we're going to meet with the BGR to talk about their recommendations and expanding the tax base. Let's not sound the alarm and let people think that city services are going to be cut.
Thank you, Senator Duplessis. A $100 million deficit. Is that an option to put more properties on the tax rolls? 1 minute.
I think it is time to sound the alarm. City Council knew back in January. They were notified back in January. Let's talk about how serious this is. The average New Orleanian pays $5,000 in property and sales tax combined. This is not monopoly money. This is not something we can just kick the can down the road. The council, under the leadership of Councilmember Helena Moreno, they took no action. We're now approaching October, and now we are facing upwards of $100 million in a budget deficit. This is serious because the people of New Orleans deserve answers. And now, her answer is, what do? We ask the state legislative auditor, to come in and do the job of the city council. That is unacceptable. This is going to have serious consequences for our city because the city council is directly responsible for the budget. And there's no clear answer. We don't know if it's 65 million or 140
Senator,
million.
thank you,
but we have to take
Councilmember.
action.
Again, you were mentioned in terms of taking no action for when you were first notified about this. $100 million deficit. Is putting more properties on the tax roll, is that an option? 1 minute.
First, I'll start by saying Senator Duplessis should know that mid-year cuts, when those come around, that's actually the responsibility of the executive branch. But nonetheless, the City Council did work to figure out different ways that we could cut expenses, including trying to cut travel expenses. And so now we're to the point where, of course, you've got the CAO saying one thing about what the budget is. We've got the finance office saying that the budget is a little bit different with the deficit. And then we have our council chair, Joe Giarrusso, who's looking at this very closely, along with the rest of us, saying we need specific clarity to really understand what the problem is. And so I don't care who I have to call in to solve the problems for the people of New Orleans. And the state legislative auditor has done tremendous work in the past when Susan Hudson, when she was having issues with her budget. And then ultimately he realized that she had more money than realized. And also when we were having issues with the city paying vendors, it was the state legislative auditor who came in, who saw the issues the administration was having, and ultimately we were able to solve those.
All right.
Okay, there you have it. So fiscal crisis looming. One candidate says, don't panic. Another candidate says, sound the alarm. And the third candidate says, we need outside help to take a look at the books and see what the heck is going on. How those answers sound to you, Chief?
Well, that's the definition of a political imbroglio. You know, I always use the term sometimes, the proverbial bureaucratic quagmire.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at it from the perspective of the senator, he's looking at it from a senatorial position from the state legislature. When you look at the position from the council people, basically they're doing it every day, and basically it made some salient points that the executive branch was actually responsible for that. But, you know, when you look at it from all different perspectives, you know, you have to determine as a voter and as someone that was listening to that, you know, who makes the most sense. You have to do your homework to find out the history of the budgetary problem and how did it start from its embryonic state and follow it. And then you can cast blame on who is ultimately responsible. When you look at it from the perspective that they only have 30 minutes for this entire debate, they only had a minute to basically make their case, you know, that's not a lot of time to do any checking. So it's up to you, the voters, to do your homework to come to the conclusion, who do you believe?
Yeah, absolutely. And but, you know, that's one of the benefits of debates and forums. And for those who want to be engaged and knowledgeable about when you cast your vote, this is one of the best ways to get informed about who you might vote for. So there are some other things that came up during the WDSU mayoral debate last night, and you can go online and check that out if you put in for WDSU mayoral debate, and it should come up, and you'll see the other parts of this 30-minute debate that was held last night. But a reminder that there are other debates that have been televised and are recorded, and you can take a look at those as well. We're going to be going to break momentarily. When we come back, we will be continuing the show in the second hour, and we will be talking about preparedness in this next hour. And we also will be talking about the news you want to know, should know, might want to know, as only we can give it to you at WBOK. If you got some questions or comments about the news and we didn't bring it up, it's okay. You can bring it up and talk about it right here on WBOK. The talk line number is 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. If you didn't get that, 504-582-9422. You're listening to WBOK, 1230 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
WBOK New Orleans, home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans. Join New Schools for New Orleans, All-State Sugar Bowl, and Entergy New Orleans in recognizing and celebrating the Teachers of the Year at our 4th annual New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Awards Gala. The gala will take place Saturday, November 1st at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. This year's gala will feature New Orleans legend DJ Jubilee. Don't miss out on this intimate celebration supporting our New Orleans public school teachers. Tickets can be purchased on our website, newschoolsforneworleans.org.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Representative Maxine Waters is urging the UN to investigate immigration raids in LA, calling them ethnic cleansing.
We're here because rights are not abstractions. They are promises that must be upheld in the places people live and work.
Joined by civil rights activist Dolores Huerta and attorney Luis Carrillo, she says Trump is trampling the Constitution. Alex O'Keefe, a black writer for hit FX show The Bear, was handcuffed on a Connecticut train after a white passenger complained about his posture. Police say he delayed service and was cited for disorderly conduct. The video has sparked outrage and calls for accountability. And Sha'Carri Richardson stars in Kim Kardashian's new Skims and Nike campaign. Nike and Skims say they're focused on empowering women through performance and style. The athletic collection also includes Serena Williams. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. Thanks for those of you who have been listening and engaging in the conversations that we've had in the first hour. In the second hour, we'll be getting back to some of those conversations, and we will also be talking with Dr. Plow about preparedness. And Dr. Chief, you got something?
Yeah, during the break, I got a call that when I said $30 million for cities, but it's not analogous because the budget that we have now was like $1.8 million because of the monies from Katrina
the size
stuff.
of the budget.
The size of the budget. So when I said it really wasn't analogous. So the budget is much larger now. So from a mathematical standpoint, it wasn't analogous. So I made a mistake.
Yeah,
but I corrected it very quickly. So
okay, but the I think the key point is that you're running for mayor and you know there's going to be a deficit.
Exactly, going to be a deficit,
and something's going to have to give.
Right.
And so you want the role, but you know there's a problem.
Right. Yeah, so
that you're going to have to deal with.
So it's not going to be as devastating as the budget was under Mayor Bartholomew because the budget was much smaller back then.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for that update. Appreciate that, Chief. We got on the line Dr. Plow, Chief Science Officer and Vice President of Research, Evaluation, and Learning at the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. Good morning, Dr. Plow. Am I saying that last name correctly?
You're saying it very correctly. Thank you. Good to be with you this morning.
Good to be with you. I have had the opportunity of visiting the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation for a variety of reasons in my course of life, for both friendship reasons and for professional reasons. So, one of my good friends, Linda Wright Moore, worked there for several years. She's retired. She was in communications and marketing, and a colleague from the Philadelphia Inquirer, Gilbert, was there. I'm not sure if he's still there now these days, but a fabulous organization doing tremendous work. And I'm glad to have you with us today so that our WBOK listeners will learn more about the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and its work, because it's so impactful and been around doing some good work for quite a while. But today we're talking about climate change as extreme weather risk increase across this nation of ours. But before we jump into that, around here, Dr. Plow, we like to find out a little bit about the people we're talking to, particularly if it's the first time. And so one of the things we say in New Orleans is, how's your mama in them? And what we mean is, how are your people? How's your mom been first most? And how are your other relatives doing? And so we want to know how your mama and them, and we want to know who's your mama, who's your daddy, and who's your family, where you're from. Give us a little bio, and we'll jump into some climate change.
Okay, I like this. Good to be with you. Good to be with you. I wish my dear mom was still around, but she's there in my heart and guiding me every day there. But I'm from Kansas City, Kansas. I'm the son of two HBCU grads who migrated from the South. One from one from New Orleans, one from Alabama, to whose families immigrated from the South to Missouri and then to Kansas. So I've been involved both and shaped by my parents' works during the civil rights era, and a guidance to me to try to make a difference in our community, and that kind of drove me to do the things that I've done professionally, running public health departments around the country, and now having the honor to do this work from the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. But I've been doing the same thing for many years in different places, working on health equity and kind of justice-driven health.
And how long have you been with the foundation?
It was going to be 5 years. It's been 13. I told when we moved from Los Angeles, I told my wife it was going to be 5 years and we go back to LA. Yeah, it's been almost 14 years, but it's fine. It's fine. In those 14 years, we acquired granddaughters nearby in Maryland, so that made me less of a suspect husband.
All right, very good, very good. Well, just in this year alone, we've seen some historic flooding, record-breaking heat waves, intense hurricane activity also, although not just this hurricane season, but in recent years. So tell us how the Robert Wood Foundation plays a role with events and things like this in terms of public health.
Well, I'm going to, in general, what we're trying to do is raise the awareness about the relationship between climate change and extreme weather, and particularly the impact, the disproportionate impact of these extreme weather events on populations, low income, and communities of color. So we're really trying to raise the awareness level of that. We're trying to through our work, our communication, and our grant making, provide some factual evidence about the impact of the federal government's current budget cuts that are making efforts to protect people around the threats of climate change and extreme weather more difficult. And we're trying to lift up and fund many community-based organizations around the country who are doing good work in disaster preparedness, recovery, and messaging. So those are the kind of things we're doing in general. But we've got for this call, and you all in the New Orleans area know this experientially. One good example of what we're funding is our work at the Deep South Center for Environmental Justice there in New Orleans, Dr. Beverly Wright's work.
Oh, sure.
And we may talk a little bit more about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's great. That's great. So September is Emergency Preparedness Month, but the work that you all do is year-round. But as we go into the second half of hurricane season here, what is some of the biggest concerns that you have about our readiness here and across the nation for events like this?
Well, one of the biggest concerns we have been the cutbacks that have had at the federal level. And we've seen that the federal government has reduced funding to FEMA to put more responsibilities on states. We think that's not going to be helpful to people. We see that the government is denying federal funding to flood recovery. It happened in Maryland. It even happened in Arkansas, so it's happened in red and blue states. We're concerned about cuts to the National Weather Service that limit emergency warnings in different languages, and we're concerned about the cuts in PBS and NPR and places that support broadcasting around emergencies, particularly in rural areas, and we're really concerned about taking away the scientific information about the relationship of climate change to health and well-being that's happened, including the removal of the National Climate Assessment Report that tells your local public health leaders, your state public health department, what some of those risks are. So we're worried about what the administration is doing that is going to be providing less federal support when disasters hit at a local, regional level.
You emphasize that climate-related disasters disproportionately affect low-income people, communities of color. Can you speak more about that, and why do these groups are more vulnerable?
Well, and again, you saw the impacted wards in Katrina. You've experienced this so much. You have stories to tell the nation about that disproportionate impact. But we see that everywhere. Historically, through redlining and other kinds of decisions that have been made in many localities that put Black and brown communities in environmentally vulnerable areas, in floodplains, next to toxic substance emitters that get worse if there's extreme weather connected to that exposure. Areas that are more prone to heat, another major thing. We just see that kind of, and I'll just use the term that we use at the foundation, that impact of structural racism on generations of folks in our community around the country have put folks into more vulnerable places where the impact of climate change is going to be exacerbated. And there are just, unfortunately, many, many examples of that throughout the country.
Do your organizations do mock simulations to test, the effect that would be on the different cities, or is that something that you don't deal with?
We fund organizations that use that kind of local data to project and inform residents about what their risks might be. When I was a public health official, and your local public officials do this, they do these simulations and disaster tabletops with folks. We fund a program called the Gulf Research Program. It's a collaboration between our funding, some funding at the National Academy of Science that came from the Gulf oil settlement. And we're working in the Gulf region now with researchers from some of the HBCUs in that region and community groups across the Gulf around that kind of work, looking at the data, talking about and trying to predict what that's going to mean for your community and what you can do to build resilience and awareness and stronger preparedness, but also stronger adaptation strategies, strengthening levees, doing the kind of work that you need to do to make sure that communities are less vulnerable in the face of a disaster.
All right, thank you very much. That's a very good answer.
Okay. So at a time when we have so many people not accepting the word equity, how do you make that argument that these things are important for responding to climate disasters at all levels of our different communities and different layers of government?
Well, at the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, we believe that we're an evidence-based foundation, and there is just so much evidence of the inequitable impact of disasters like what we're talking about today, but inequitable distribution of fair health outcomes in this country, based on poverty, race, marginalization. So we know that the federal government has put the term equity on its list of words that it's used trying to ban funding and discussion. But we're a country that we believe, and I still believe, is a country based on fairness. Equity is about fairness. We are going to continue to do that kind of work. We are right now, because of the federal cutbacks in research around equity, we're now the largest funder of health equity research in the nation, and we're trying to fill the gap of some of the funding that's been taken away, really disproportionately taken away from researchers of color. To look at what we need to do to have more equitable health outcomes, related to climate change or related to other factors. So we are very, very strong science-based advocates for examining inequitable health outcomes and what we need to do around the nation to promote more equity.
All right, Dr. Plow, we're going to have to wrap it up and get to break. As we do, can you tell our listeners how people can reach out to the Robert Wood Foundation and how they can get involved?
Get involved locally. You've got a strong health department in New Orleans. You've got a lot of experience. Your neighbors are your first responders. So that's that on the neighborhood level. Reach us at rwjf.org. And our website has lots of different resources. I'm happy to connect with anybody interested in LinkedIn and post a lot of our work, particularly some of that great work that Beverly Wright is doing in the New Orleans area.
Wonderful. We'll have to circle back to that. That's important work, and it's a good reminder of the work that they're doing. And so perhaps we'll be in touch with her soon. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. Plow. I know there's a lot of good work that you all do. It keeps you busy, and appreciate your spending some time with our WBOK 1230 a.m. listening audience today. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. Thank you. You too. Bye.
All right. All right, folks, we're going to have a break, and then we're going to get back to it with some news and information that you might want to know, should know. And you're listening to WBOK, 1230 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Good morning and happy Tuesday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. A jury is seated for the trial of former 911 director Tyrell Morris. However, the trial won't resume until tomorrow in observance of the Jewish holiday Rosh Hashanah, which is today. Yesterday, prosecutors allege Morris left a New Orleans bar on his birthday in 2023, crashed a city-issued SUV, and later altered a drug and alcohol policy to avoid consequences. But his defense attorney instead blamed politics and the media for this case going forward at all. And a heads up for drivers who use the Claiborne Avenue Bridge, lane closures will impact both directions today. The St. Bernard Parish Sheriff's Office says the right lanes on both the east and westbound side will be closed from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Officials say this is for routine bridge inspections. And finally, you can watch our WDSU mayoral debate in its entirety right now on WDSU.com. You'll hear from the three top candidates, Royce Duplessis, Helena Moreno, and Oliver Thomas. And a reminder, Election Day is Saturday, October 11th, and early voting begins this Saturday and runs through October 4th. And the RTA is offering free bus, streetcar, and ferry rides on both Saturdays of early voting as well as Election Day. No voter registration is required for that. And that's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a great day.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. It is 8:20 a.m. If you were supposed to be at work at 8, you're late, and it's going to take you a little while, so you're probably going to be even later at this point. But if you need to be there in 10 minutes at 8:30, depends how close you live to work, and you might make it on time. So it's 8:20 a.m. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. My name is Will Sutton, and this is Chief Eddie Compass, and we are here
to hear you.
All right, you're hearing our voices, but we want to hear yours. And the talk line, the WBOK 1230 AM talk line is 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. Well, we're going to be talking about a few things that are going on in our marketplace. But one of the things, Eddie, is there was word about a new long-term Saints Superdome deal. And so that broke some days ago, and that the Saints and the state of Louisiana agreed to the terms of a long-term lease of the Caesars Superdome. That was great news, because that would mean that the Saints would be here for at least 10 more years, and that with the 5-year extensions, it's very likely that they would be here until 2055. And I'm not anticipating being able to see any Saints games.
Well, I'll be here.
2055.
I'll be here.
You'll be here?
I'll only be 97.
Okay.
I'll only be 97. I will be here.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. You get me in shape, and maybe I'll be here too. Yeah. But 2055, which is a good long time, but apparently it's not quite done yet. And it's not done not because they don't have a deal on using the Caesars Superdome, but they're haggling over some of the other things. Guess what? Guess what they're haggling over?
Concessions.
Nope.
Parking.
Nope. One more, and I'm going to tell you.
Advertisement on the side of the dome.
No. These are locations. One more guess. Locations. Arguing over locations.
What?
Yes.
Locations.
Places that have names.
Oh, man.
Keep in mind, this is Gail Benson and her team. They have lots of stuff.
Oh.
And the Saints have lots of stuff.
Okay.
And so I'm going to tell you.
All right.
They're arguing over leases for Benson Tower.
Oh, wow. Right next door. Right next door.
And they're arguing over leases for Champion Square.
Wow.
And they're arguing over leases for the practice facility over in Jefferson Parish.
Wow.
So you see, folks, the Saints are a super large organization. And for them, it's not just about playing in the Superdome.
Right.
It's about multiple layers of consideration that tentative stadium lease deal would run for 10 years. And then that would extend through 2055, according to negotiators for the Saints in the state. And this is according to NOLA.com's Anthony McCauley, Tyler Bridges, and Jeff Duncan, who have been all over this trying to find out what's going on. Tony is very well connected in and with the business community. Tyler is very well connected with the state legislature, state government, and state politics. And Jeff Duncan, I mean, he's the man when it comes to sports and being very deeply connected. So they've been wondering what's going on. They put their time in to find out what's behind this delay. And what they found is that there's some other things other than the Caesars Superdome. So people got excited about there being a deal, but then the deal wasn't signed. And it wasn't signed. And it wasn't signed. It wasn't signed because they haven't reached terms on some of these other things.
Now, didn't this affect our ability to bid on the Super Bowl because this
That is
wasn't
correct.
signed? So
that is correct because the current lease ends in 2030.
right.
And the NFL was taking bids through a committee for the Super Bowl of 2031.
Wow. So basically, it cost us the opportunity to get the Super Bowl here.
Well, they're looking for ways back in, and that's one of the drivers for getting this deal done, so they can go back and say, would you please, please, please reconsider and put us on the table? Because it's not a give me. I mean, there's a competition, and you have to go through the structures and go through the committees and the advisors, and then you get to the owners, and it's a smaller group, and it's not just one location, one team. It's multiples, and then they have to make a choice. So there's still some time. It's a matter of how quickly they get this task done, and while at the same time trying to figure out what they can do to move things along and get on the list of consideration for 2031.
I guess being a former chief, I was part of the process when it was going on when I was superintendent of police. And I was chief of operations when we handled the Super Bowl after 9/11, which was the largest major event of that time, right after 9/11. And one of the reasons that they love to come to New Orleans is because of its close proximity to everything as it relates to the Superdome. You know, many other cities, like, they have, like, events that go on. They're miles and miles and miles apart. But when they do the Super Bowl in New Orleans, everything is close. You know, a lot of things are in walking distance, and it's really, from a logistical standpoint, optimal because you want everybody close together. You want people to be able to be transported with the least amount of, complexity. And with the hotels being right here, the restaurants being right here,
people love it.
People love it. Not to mention we have the best food in the country.
They can walk.
They can walk.
They can take an Uber or Lyft.
Yeah.
And it's not going to cost them $300 to get someplace that's 40 miles away.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. So, but you were on to something with your previous guesses. So this updated deal ties back to the 2009 deal that was negotiated by Tom Benson and then Governor Bobby Jindal, and also Ron Foreman, who was chair of the Superdome Commission at that time. Again, this is according to NOLA.com's trio of expert reporters. So that deal was described by Forbes magazine as, quote, the most complex and lucrative stadium lease arrangements in the NFL.
Wow.
So if it was complex in 2009, what do you think that might look like now? So along the lines of your earlier guesses, based on that deal, not the current deal,
right?
Based on that deal, that included provisions such as a $5 million bonus for when the Saints hosted a Super Bowl.
Wow.
Which ties to what you just referenced. It also included a 42% share of game day food and beverage revenues.
Which is,
you said concessions.
Very significant.
Yep. And it included a share of non-football event revenues, which means we might not be playing football, you might be playing music, but we want some of that too. And a share of the stadium naming rights. So right now it's Caesars. It had been Mercedes-Benz.
Right.
And so those are long-term deals. So the Saints are saying, we want a piece of that too. And there's the price of parking. You mentioned parking revenue and rents from the Champion Square space. Lovely space.
Right.
So one of the best upgrades in that complex area. Wonderful space for walking through, taking a break, but also for events of all kinds. And they're saying, we want a piece of that too. So if that was in 2009, imagine what those talks might be looking like now, because they basically have a deal for the Caesars Superdome and to keep the Saints here. But they want to ensure that if we're going to commit for a deal that's at least 10, and could go to 2055, then we need to make sure for those who come after us in this organization that they have a contract that they can rely on and point to and pull it out and say, no, 42% is what we said.
Right.
Yeah. So it's
so-
heavy duty business.
Yeah, I was just looking at it from a perspective that, they were negotiating from a position of power because every city in the United States wants a NFL franchise. The revenue that it brings in just from advertising, when I'm talking about, showcasing the city every week. And, by tourism being one of our main sources of revenue, that's millions, tens of millions of dollars of advertisement for free when you think about it, when they're putting the Saints on TV. Then you look at it from the perspective of the jobs and everything that's connected to that. It would be a financial nightmare for the Saints to leave this city. It would destroy the tax base.
It's a lot of people's full-time jobs.
Exactly.
And a whole bunch of other people's part-time jobs.
Like me.
Like a lot of people rely on not just the game days.
Right.
But the other events associated with the Saints and the Pelicans.
That's right. So.
Yep. That's some regular income.
Oh, yeah.
For a bunch of people. So they might be retired, but they work at that, or they might have a full-time job, and then this is their thing that they do at night or on the weekend.
And people don't know this either. A lot of nonprofits work those food booths and vending booths. And that's how their organizations are funded for the whole year through the money that they generate through the Louisiana Superdome at the Saints games.
And all that could go away.
All that could go away. I'm talking about like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, different social groups. I mean, it's amazing how many youth groups are actually working at the Superdome, and they're dependent upon the funding for the entire year. A lot of church groups are there, So, I mean, it's a plethora of organizations that would be affected, and not to mention all the people that work there full-time would lose their jobs. So it's a big deal.
Yep. Well, I'm going to move you to another topic that I think a whole lot of people will want to know about. If you are an LCMC health patient, client, customer, you're going to want to listen to this. And again, this is according to Emily Woodruff, who wrote this story. United Healthcare, Louisiana's second largest private health insurer provider, warned customers in a letter that LCMC health hospitals could be dropped from in-network coverage.
Whoa.
So if you've been around long enough, you know the difference between in-network and out-of-network in terms of how it hits your pocket.
Oh, very much so.
So in-network could be dropped, forcing patients to pay higher costs if the two sides can't agree on a contract. So UHC, United Healthcare, and LCMC are engaged in this very serious negotiation over how much local hospitals will receive for their services from the big insurance giant. And this was sent to the customers so that they know that this could be coming without a deal. So if there's a deal, this might not have to happen, but they're letting people know that if you're without a deal, LCMC hospitals would be treated as out-of-network care starting on November 1.
Wow.
It's September, but that's just a few weeks ago. And they even went so far as to suggest that patients turn to rival hospitals and suggested Ochsner Health for in-network care.
Wow.
Now, who wants to give business away?
Wow.
That must be some serious negotiations if you're telling your customers to get ready. Come November 1, we're not going to be able to treat you as in-network. You might want to go visit Ochsner.
I'll tell you, healthcare is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And when you look at healthcare, that is basically determines your quality of life. And I know the money that I pay, even being on Medicaid and Medicare, I have to get all these Part A, B, C, D, additions to basically be able to go to my providers that I need for, different health problems that I've faced throughout my life. I had a double hip replacement. So I'm constantly, having to get, checked on that to make sure it's in place, and that's just me as an individual. So, when you're talking about in-network and out-network, it's a vast difference in the actual amount of money that you pay. So hopefully we need to get this straight quickly, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, that would be devastating for a lot of people. And even if it wasn't a problem for you to go to Ochsner or another provider, there are relationships that you've built,
right,
dealing with your health, and usually not one doctor or one nurse, but a team of people that you're used to seeing, and you miss them if it's their day off when you go, or if they retired. So this is some serious personal relationship and professional health care situation.
Yeah, well, I have glaucoma, and I almost lost my sight. And my doctor, Lena Al-Jadwali, she saved my sight. And I couldn't imagine going to anybody but her, and being in a position that a lot of us are in. We get used to specific doctors, and, and they know you, and it's very difficult to switch, especially when you get to be our age.
Yep. Well, I want to give something a little lighter for you guys and tell you that USA Today created a list of best places to visit this fall. Best places to visit this fall. And I would love to know who out there thinks they know which places are best places to visit this fall. So not best places in New Orleans or best places in Louisiana or the South, but across the nation. What are some of the top places to visit in the fall? So they're not talking about spring visits or summer visits.
In the United States?
In the United States.
Okay.
In the United States.
I got a good guess.
You got a good guess? Okay. So the talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. What are some of the places that you've been to or always wanted to go to that you think might be on the USA Today best places to visit this fall? What do you think, Chief?
Martha's Vineyards.
Martha's Vineyard in the fall.
In the fall.
Not on the list.
Not on the list.
Not on the list.
Man.
Nope. Not on the list. So 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. Anybody out there got a guess? Anybody got a guess? Anybody got a guess? I'm going to give you one. Burlington, Vermont. Why do you think they might be on the list for the fall? Fall foliage.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been to Burlington, Vermont in the fall. It is gorgeous.
Okay.
It's an incredible, different kind of outdoor experience to see fall foliage in the Northeast, particularly in the states higher in that tip of the country. So that's one of them. Another one is really surprising to me, but Rochester, New York.
New York. Big city of dreams.
No,
okay.
That's New York City, but this is Rochester.
Oh, it's outside.
This
outside
is Rochester. This is further up north. So they're on the list. Gatlinburg, Tennessee is on the list. We got Allegheny County, Maryland is on the list.
I never would have guessed that one.
How about Mackinac Island, Michigan? I've been there. That's beautiful. I haven't been there in the fall, but that is a gorgeous
what are they known
place.
For?
It's like a Detroit Midwest getaway.
Okay.
So it's like for some people, it's like their Martha's Vineyard.
Okay.
Except they don't have to fly across the country or drive across the country just to go to Martha's Vineyard.
Okay.
When they got their own Mackinac Island, so you got to take transportation to get over there. So if you're over there, you're on there to be there for a bit. So Mackinac Island, Michigan. So that's another. So we got a caller on the line. All right, Big Chiefs says we got a caller on the line. Reverend Calhoun, good morning.
He has to be on the list.
What is?
Huh?
I didn't hear you. What's on the list?
Washington, D.C. should be on the list.
Washington, D.C. I'm going to look. Washington, D.C. is not on the list.
And you're talking about the changes in the fall, and you don't have D.C. on it. Who made this list?
Get him, Rev. Get him, Rev.
This is USA Today. I thought this might brighten up and frustrate some people. So listen to the ones I've already named. Mackinac Island, Michigan. Rochester, New York. Allegheny, Maryland. Burlington, Vermont. Want to take another crack, Reverend Calhoun?
Do they have New Orleans, Louisiana on there?
No, but there is a place in Louisiana.
But I do have a question because I'm concerned with the gentleman with the climate change was on.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Given what's happening here with this grain terminal.
Yes.
And it's interesting to me, out of all the people that they found that was there, because you had well over 100 people that was there yesterday.
Well, hold on, Reverend Calhoun. I know, Reverend Calhoun, I know what you're talking about, but I think a lot of our listeners might not know. Give a little summary about what happened yesterday and why people came out.
In the lower Ninth Ward, there was a supposedly called a meeting with the grain terminal, Sunrise Foods, the railroad, and the Port of New Orleans to come in and inform us about the decisions that's been made pertaining to the grain terminal they want to put at Alamo Street Wharf. The problem is that the community definitely does not want that facility here in the lower nine. The problem I'm having is some of the questions that were allowed to be asked, because they did stop some of the questioning with some of the officials from the port as well as from Sunrise Foods. But my question was, because they're going to set up 4 monitors, air quality monitors. My question came in, what then does, if the air quality does reach a certain point where it's not healthy, how does the community, or what do they do to inform community? They're working on it. They ain't got to change it. They're going to tell me later.
So there's no early warning system in place in case there's something that reaches levels?
No, you got monitors that determines what the air quality value is.
Okay.
But generally with those type of systems, you would have some type of alert system, right?
Exactly.
All right, if we get, and suppose now the wind takes the grain dust past the monitors, how then does that impact community in terms of notification? When you were talking to the gentleman from the air quality, from the climate controls.
Yeah, Dr. Plow, Alonzo Plow.
Well, one of the things that, because a storm can come up in seconds, right?
Yep.
All right, so if you get a storm and it start pushing that grain dust, my next question was, what's the procedure to shut it down, or do they continue to work on? If it's not a rainstorm, but it's a dust storm, I mean, it's a windstorm. All right, these are the kind of questions that really bother me because I don't see real answers here. Like I said, they had over 100 people down here yesterday. They found one person that said they think this is a good idea.
Out of 100?
Out of 100 people,
wow.
They found one person that said they think this is a good idea.
Did you take a picture and get a name, Reverend Calhoun? Reverend Calhoun, did you take their picture and get a name?
It's on the news.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Out of all the people that was here, they found one person say they think this is a good idea.
Wow. I see.
So my concern is this, Doc. They're trying to push this ahead. They're trying to move it ahead. We're now trying to talk about having a real community meeting in which the entirety of the community should come and have this discussion as to what the impacts of this type of facility will have on us. Because that grain dust is nothing to play with. If you got a child that's asthmatic and that grain doesn't get into his system, they're telling me that the further out it goes, the more it dissipates, which I'm in agreement with. But if you got a strong wind pushing it past the monitors, how will that impact those people that's in that path? I just think that at some point there needs to be real discussion about what's going on. The port, the Sunrise Food, the railroad, because you got a train that's going less than 15 feet from in front of someone's home. Now, I heard some people say yesterday, I've been down here for a very long time. When that train used to go down St. Claude and turn and hit the spur to go down Alamo Street, that had to be back in the 50s somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So now I don't know what's going to happen in terms of community really coming together. We are asking to have that meeting, not a conference, not where you just point out what the jobs that may come, because those jobs that they're saying may come is specialized jobs. All right. So the 5 or 6 people that's going to work there, I'm trying to understand, how would that be determined is by training? Because as you guys already know, usually when they're saying that they're going to offer jobs, it's never for the people that lives in the area. They always have to go out and find other people and come in from Texas and Florida and all these Mississippi and all these other places to work. So
Reverend Calhoun,
I'm just trying to have an intelligent discussion about what's happening.
Yeah, well, I think you all been having those conversations. It's a matter of broadening the conversations to include more people so they know more about what's going on. There have been some journalists who have covered the story. I know my colleague Desiree Stennett over at Times-Picayune has been covering this over the course of the recent months. And I hope more people will pick up on what you're talking about because it is an important issue. We're going to have to break, Reverend Calhoun.
Yeah, but
let's be in
one
touch
more
about
thing
that.
Now, the presence that we had in terms of police there yesterday?
Yep.
I actually believe somebody called Trump to send the troops out.
Oh, my. Okay.
And,
all right.
I'm just trying to find, Chief. You ain't called him, did you?
No.
You might have heard. I've been gone 20 years. I've been gone 20 years.
And I don't think he's taking my calls. All right. You have a blessed day, Reverend Calhoun.
All right.
All right. We're going to have to go to break. And when we come back, we're going to get back to the Charlie Kirk issue and Hakeem Jeffries voting in favor of the Charlie Kirk resolution when most of the Congressional Black Caucus voted no. The one Louisiana city on the list of the top 10 places to visit this fall? Lafayette, Louisiana. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Hey, this is D. Riley from the 90s Hits R&B Jams. Make sure you listen to WBOK 1230 AM every Saturday night from 7 until 9 p.m. I'll be giving you the best R&B jams from the 90s. That's right, all your favorites and more. With me, D. Riley, your host of the 90s Hits, right here on WBOK 1230 AM. Or listen online at WBOK1230.com. WBOK, the station you listen to longer.
Tired of the impersonal, one-size-fit-all style of banking? You deserve a bank that delivers exceptional service and personalized attention to your needs. That's the Home Bank Standard. Since 1908, Home Bank has been a trusted financial partner for businesses and families because we go the extra mile to help you reach your goals. See for yourself why Home Bank is good for business, good for life. Stop by any New Orleans area location or find out more at home24bank.com. Home Bank, member FDIC.
New Orleans is stuck. While career politicians like J.P. Morrell aren't fighting for our community. I'm Pastor Gregory Manning, running for City Council at Large in Division 2. Our community is my top concern because when our community rises, the whole city rises. I will fight to eliminate Entergy late fees, stop cutoffs during the summer heat and winter cold, and put people before profit. On October the 11th, let's get New Orleans unstuck. Vote Pastor Gregory Manning for City Council at Large, Division 2, ballot number 32, paid for by Friends of Gregory Manning.
Hear that? For too long, fixing our streets and drainage has only meant inconvenience and empty promises. This is Matthew Willard. I'm running for Council at Large, Division 1, to really fix our city so we spend less time dodging potholes and street flooding and more time cheering on the Saints. As a state legislator, I've proven I can deliver. At City Hall, I'll build on that record. Paid for by the Matthew Willard campaign.
A careless driver can change your life in an instant. Do you know what to do or who to call? If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident and do not have an attorney, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free consultation. We can answer all of your questions and estimate the potential value of your case. Call Auto Accident Help Desk and connect with an expert personal injury attorney.
Call 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524.
Don't worry how to handle your medical bills, lost wages, and pain. We will get you the money you deserve.
They got me way more than the insurance company offered.
The consultation is free, and you do not pay any legal fees unless we win or settle your case. Make the smart call. If you've been injured in an auto accident, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free legal consultation.
Call 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Another hot day is expected. Highs will be into the low 90s, feeling like the mid to upper 90s at times. There are chances for rain today, but most of these will be isolated. Not everybody will see it, but if you do see some rain, there could be some heavy downpours, but more rain expected for Wednesday and Thursday, and we need it. Temperatures at the end of the week will be into the 80s. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
I'm David Patan Sr., owner of Whole Water and Food Over Medicine Academy, coach, consultant, and instructor. We're excited about our 21-day challenge. Stop, prevent, and reverse disease today. Cholesterol, diabetes type 2, high blood pressure, along with chronic illnesses and diseases. We believe that the gift of wellness is the greatest gift, and for $30 per month, $1 a day, you could have this gift for you and your family.
I'm Phyllis Washington, and I've benefited with health and weight loss.
For your gift of $30, healing and wellness can be yours. Call 504-701-4711. That's 504-701-4711. The Whole Water Store. See you at 2135 Washington Avenue today.
Hey everybody, it's Kimber White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Brian Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show right here on WBOK 1230 AM. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. I am Will Sutton, and with me is Chief Eddie Compass, or Coach Eddie Compass. He's got different hats.
Or Poppy.
For
my grandkids.
He's got different hats, but that new title is the one I think he might love most.
That's right.
Poppy.
Yeah.
Haven't had that one for 20 years.
Oh, I know. I love my grandkids so much.
Yep. I get it. Well, we were talking yesterday about the Charlie Kirk resolution that was passed by the House of Representatives, the U.S. House of Representatives, passed overwhelmingly. And the Republicans have been beating down the Democrats for having 58 Democrats vote against the resolution. A great majority of the Congressional Black Caucus voted against the resolution. Our two congressional representatives who are black, Cleo Fields and Troy Carter voted against the resolution. But there were other people, including black people, who voted for the resolution. The most high profile of those people is the congressional minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries voted for the Charlie Kirk resolution. Now, I read the resolution to you yesterday. I'm not sure I could vote for that House resolution. The Senate one, which was shorter, more to the point, and just basically more humane, okay. But for this one, it's just way too much, way too long, way too much making this guy a martyr, and I couldn't see voting for it. So on the weekend, Reverend Al Sharpton on MSNBC asked Hakeem Jeffries about his vote and about this resolution. And here's how that went.
I want to start with this bipartisan resolution honoring Charlie Kirk that divided your caucus this week. You voted in favor along with 100 Democrats, but 58 of your colleagues voted against it, most of them members of the Congressional Black Caucus, who criticized the measure as, quote, an attempt to legitimize Kirk's worldview that includes ideas many Americans find racist, harmful, and fundamentally un-American. As a CBC member yourself, what's your reaction to this critique?
Well, I understand fully the CBC critique and participated in a variety of different CBC conversations that we had, particularly toward the end of the week in advance of the resolution. One thing I can say is that every single House Democrat does not endorse the views espoused by Charlie Kirk in any way, shape, or form, and every single House Democrat does not endorse political violence against any person at any time for any reason. And this probably was an attempt by some on the right to try to divide the Congressional Black Caucus or divide House Democrats, and we will continue to be as unified as ever in pushing back against Donald Trump and his extremism. The other thing I'd say, from my perspective, is that I looked at it as a two-page resolution that doesn't even have the force of law. It certainly wasn't about a congressional gold medal, wasn't about a national holiday, wasn't about a statute. It was a two-page resolution. And, you know, we're not going to let Republicans divide us or distract us from the mission of protecting the health care of the American people, pushing back against the effort to shut down the government, and trying to actually create an America that turns back the clock, which is what Republicans are doing, as opposed to what we want to do as Democrats, move the country forward.
All right. So there's the question. There's the answer. Do you think he answered the question?
I don't think that answer was a salient argument. It was capricious, arbitrary, and vagarious. It was a situation where it was very definitive what this individual espoused. It was very definitive what this individual stood for. And the verbiage that was used in that resolution was basically making him a person that basically should be admired. And in actuality, the complete opposite is the case. It basically he had a life that did not bring people together. He had a life that divided people. He had a life that disrespected people, especially African Americans, females, transgender people, homosexual people. So that's not the type of individual that brings people together. That's the type of individual that divides people. So I don't know how he could have justified signing that on the contention that it was something that was for unity.
I do recognize that when you're in a leadership position, that there are times you have to balance the pros and the cons of the actions that you take. And sometimes not everybody will understand why you're taking a particular action. I've been in that position. You've been in that position. Yeah. But hard for me to reconcile this vote with the life that Charlie Kirk has led in life and now is living in death, becoming something even bigger than he was. Well, that's going to do it for us at the Good Morning Show. I want to thank Pop Jones, Reverend Wallace, Ms. Jones, and Reverend Calhoun for calling in today. We always appreciate those of you who decide to call the talk line. And we also appreciate those of you on Facebook Live, Deborah, Fern, Dr. Martinez, Karen, Joshua, Jacqueline, Goins, and every day I'm sure, I'm leaving somebody off, but I just want to acknowledge that we see you and we thank you for tuning in each and every day. Lord willing, we'll be back here tomorrow morning with another edition of the Good Morning Show. Meanwhile, you're listening to WBOK, 1230 a.m., what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Message from the community scientist. Do you live or work in St. James, St. John, St. Charles, Ascension, Calcasieu,